Hey goalies, it's Kirk from Warrior Goalie. I'm here with Carson, and we're going to talk about everything you need to know on the Ritual G7 custom options. So starting with leg pads, you have two options. You can choose our G7 graphic here. We have a classic graphic that we've offered for a number of years now, where you have a fake knee bar section with an outer roll graphic and a slight section through here if you want to keep a simple, clean, sleek look and you don't want to use the G7. So that's your first option. What graphic would you go with? But moving on beyond that, you get into some basics. Are you getting one set of pads, one glove, one blocker, one pad, two gloves, one blocker? You're choosing what kind of quantities you want when you're on our customizer. And then you're getting into some of the other features like sizing. So this is a 34 plus 1.5 inch pad. You can obviously go 34 plus 2 or even up to plus 2.5, 3. But if you're changing that size, you're really moving the pad in two separate sections. So if this is a 34 plus 1.5, if I were to change this to be a 33 plus 1.5, I would be taking a 1/2 inch out below the knee and a 1/2 inch out above the knee. So overall pad height changes by 1 inch, but it's changing in two spots. So a lot of times goalies might assume 1 inch bigger means you're moving this whole block up 1 inch bigger. That's not necessarily the case. We use 1/2 inch increments in the shin and above the knee. So choosing what size you'd like. A lot of goalies already know what size they want for maybe trying the equipment on in a store or having a friend who has equipment that they can try on. But we do have a sizing guide that's on our customizer. You just simply click the I button there and you can get some at-home measurements to figure out what size would fit your game best. Next on the customizer, you're going to choose your core option. We really have 5 different core options. You're going to start by choosing what type of break you'd want below the knee or above the knee. Above the knee, we offer a medium thigh rise flex or a stiff thigh rise flex. It's really just those two. And then below the knee, you can go soft, medium, or stiff. So most of these are one-piece cores that have great overall longevity to them. When you go with the soft below the knee, you are going to get a break internally below the knee. So that's what makes it so much softer and have more bend below the knee. So soft, medium, or stiff, or you can choose a medium or a stiff for the thigh rise section. Outer roll, Carson, you can choose to have one break like this pad has here, which is a stock break on the G7. And you can also choose to have that break removed if you want to have the pad to be a little bit straighter profile and stiffer for longer. So that would be an option there. Next, the outer calf wrap is something that you can choose as well. So this is considered stock or long in Warrior Goalie's customizer. If you wanted to go short, if you wanted to make this piece shorter, it would cut it off right about here, just above this ankle break section to really get the pad higher and wrap your leg up here. This is common for sometimes goalies that wear newer skate types that have bigger boots or have buckles maybe, and they don't want any part on the pad to catch against their skate. So you can have that removed to a shorter. At the ankle, this is a stock flex. This is called full hinge, where you can feel on a Warrior pad that there's no foam back here. And that allows the pad to fully hinge backwards and forwards. Or you can do a half hinge, is where we put some additional foam in the ankle flex so that the pad will still bend forward, but it won't necessarily flex as much backwards if you're a goalie coming from a different pad, or you just want more of a stiffer boot in the forward flex, reverse flex. You can get that half hinge to get just more forward flex. That's really it on the leg pad specs and the options that you have to customize. Color-wise, you can go anywhere you want to go with a pad, and graphically, as I mentioned, you have 2 different graphics to choose from. On the trappers, you're going to have 2 options between the G7 and the 7.1. You're still going to be able to choose the G7 graphic or the classic graphic. I'm holding right here a G7, so a longer thumb, shorter finger, single T, which is stock for this glove. This also has a 75-degree liner inside, but really you're going to get into some choices of single T or double T. The double T is here on the 7.1. As an example, removable palm though, still in the G7, and you're going to be on the customizer. You can choose intermediate 75, senior 75, senior 60, or senior 90 to get that option there. you have an option on our customizer to have a removable conventional wrist strap. And that's really something that you can order without any fear because it's removable. So if you want to try it, you want to see what it's like, go ahead and click yes on that, order it. And if you don't like it, you can take it off and now you know. But it's not something that ever comes stock on a Warrior glove. So if you have a Warrior glove at home, you can't put that on your glove. It has to come from the factory, custom, because of the attachment methods that are removable for that feature. Next, you would choose a practice core or a game ready core. I'd say 95% of our goalies choose game ready, and they use game ready even in practice because it's so light, it's protective. There's no gaps throughout here. It's really, really easy. This other glove here is a 7.1, and I'm talking about this on custom, and it's an intermediate. So intermediate 7.1 is only available through custom. You cannot get this in a store. It's that 7.1 shape where you have a shorter thumb and a longer finger that gives a younger goalie or a smaller goalie more coverage beyond their fingertips, so more coverage on the bottom half of the glove to get better reach for a low glove save just over the pad. This is only available through custom G7.1 intermediate. And the last thing that you would talk about customizing is your blocker. So we talk about board shape. You have your G7 board, 20-degree board shape, thicker board shape, flatter curve, or you have the 7.1, which is the thinner 35-degree curve of the board shape there. Non-removable palm, removable palm here. You're choosing your sizes of the palm, whether it be on the 7.1 or on the G7, between an intermediate, an intermediate, a medium, large, and an extra large. You can get an intermediate blocker palm into a senior Warrior blocker, whether it's G7 or if you're custom ordering, you can now get intermediate palms on the 7.1 in the senior size, which you couldn't get on the 6.1. So that's a really cool update there as well. But you're choosing your board shape and your blocker palm size, and obviously you want to match it up nicely with the rest of the graphics so you look good, you feel good, and you play great. That's really everything you need to know about the G7 Customizer. Head to our website, check it out for yourself. Don't forget, there's an I button on every page just about that will give you more of this type of information so that you can educate yourself as you're designing your dream set. Go have fun, goalies.